Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 295 of bulking to 75 kilos. Well, today I actually woke up at 76 kilos because I've been eating very well this weekend. I went to a Greek restaurant, and then yesterday I had some mules, I guess you say. But anyway, I had a lot of food and I'm heavy today. I also feel a little tired from all the heavy training that I've been doing in the last couple of days. So today, I don't really know how it's gonna go, I don't expect a lot, but in those cases, the best thing that you can do, and I think this is a scenario we all experience, right? Sometimes you're just tired, is, when you know that you're gonna be tired, don't start from the workout that you had originally planned and then work down when you fail and fail and fail. For example, if you had planned to do full planche, right, attempts, and then you know you're gonna be weak, well, you know that you're gonna fail your attempts. So why not start, instead of from all the way up, start from the bottom, right? Start doing light things and then work your way up from there. Because if you start on the heaviest shit that you know you're gonna fail, or you're 90% sure that you're gonna fail, well, first of all, you have your risk of injury, but also you're gonna fail something, use all your power there, have way less power left over, and then try something else that's easier, but also fail that because, well, your power is already gone. While if you can work up to things, you start slow, you start easy, you can slowly work your way up to a level that's appropriate for you on that day. And also, because you're getting gradually warmed up, you might even be able to polish your technique and actually become stronger than you expected on the day. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. For the planche, it's a heavy exercise, right? So I want to be careful with it. Today, I feel heavy, I feel tired. I'm gonna start with some light sets, and then in the end, if I feel okay, I'll be doing some heavier sets. But that's part one of the workout. Of course, there will be an endurance part as well. But for now, let's just focus on this, one set at a time, one rep at a time. And if you just focus on that one rep, that one set every time, eventually your workout will be completed. And when you look back, it might even have been a good one. Well, there are no bad workouts, let's be honest. The moment that you get started on your workout and you start moving, you've already won the day. So let's go. Alright, glad that I started light because that felt quite heavy. I'm just gonna do a couple sets of presses and then see from there. Whew. Alright, fuck. I'm already starting to get weaker now. Although I'm feeling heavy and tired today, I'm still doing 2 presses, 3 presses, which these days I consider weak, but once I considered this the best day ever because, like everyone, I started from a lean planche and I started from a tuck planche. So no matter if you're tired or you're feeling good, the things you have to do are the same, You have to go out there, train, try to get better in some way. If you're feeling tired, that's an opportunity to work on your form and your execution, right? And you train anyway, even though you're feeling tired. And by staying consistent, the good days you once had, they will feel like bad days in the future. Because at some point, I would have been so happy to get 3 presses with even a bad form, And today, I'm doing it paying attention to form for multiple sets, and I'm feeling I'm feeling a bit heavy. So that's just something you have to pay attention to, right? Like your progress, it's all relative to a certain period of time. If you look at the past week, you might be going down a little bit, but if you look at the past month or the past couple months, you will see that you're actually becoming stronger. So yeah, couple sets here are done of the planche press. I think I am gonna do like 1 or 2 more sets weighted, just like a hold, to get a couple seconds in me, because I feel like if I wanna get better at the planche push-ups with weight on my feet, I have to first make sure that I can actually hold the planche with weight as well. So my best used to be like 10 seconds or something. If I can someday surpass that, it would give me a very good base to start doing push-ups to a press, and then also feel very light when I remove the weight. That's kind of the plan here. 2 more sets of that or something, and then we'll move on from there. All right, 4 seconds. That means I'm at 40% today. Well, I already did some planche presses in the beginning, but that's good to know, 40%, I'm gonna take that. And 1 more set of this, then we can move on to endurance workouts, which it's gonna be very interesting, because when it comes to endurance workouts, you kind of have to make your workouts harder to make them easier. I'll explain it in more detail in a bit. Alright, so next up is push-ups, and I want to have a kind of light workout today. So what I'm gonna do for endurance is I'm gonna make the exercise more difficult. Now that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? I want to have a light day, so I'm gonna make things more difficult. But that's because from an endurance perspective, when you make your exercise more difficult, you're gonna be able to do less of it, you're gonna be able to endure less. Therefore, you're not allowing yourself to push yourself to the absolute limit, because if I do endurance purely body weight, like I did a couple trainings ago, 1,000 reps, I'm beating my body down to the point that it's not even able to move anymore at just body weight, right? But if I were to add 10 kilos to that, and then I would push myself, I'm only going to be able to push my body to a point where it's not able to move anymore with 10 kilos of added weight. But if I were to remove the weight at that point, I would be able to move again, right? And the same thing is true for the length of your sets. What would be the most, from an endurance perspective, what would make you the most tired? Would it be 50 sets of 20 push-ups, or would it be 1 set to your maximum, which would maybe be 100 push-ups, right? That's 10 times less the amount of volume. Of course, doing the 50 sets is going to make you way more tired. So in that sense, adding a bit of difficulty to your endurance workouts is actually going to result in you having a lighter day, because you're doing the longer sets, because you are doing the added weight, you're basically, doing less, I guess, in total. You're doing less volume, which it can also be used as an excuse, It's something that I have done a lot in the past. I would tell myself that I'm going to train for front lever endurance, and then after a while I would always add weight, because if I can do the front lever, right, with weight, it's going to feel light, I'm going to be able to do it longer. But that's not the case. Yes, the front lever is going to feel lighter, but I'm not training my endurance. The endurance part is trained where you're tired, where it's burning, where it's uncomfortable, right? And when you add these weights to your endurance workouts, you're kind of making that uncomfortable part, you're making it shorter. You're making sure that you're not able to do as much of it, which can also be used as an excuse, Oh yeah, I'm training endurance, but you're making it easier for yourself, because you're not doing as much endurance. The hardest endurance workouts are purely body weight. That's kind of the conclusion I'm getting to lately. But anyway, today's plan is to do an easy workout. So I am going to add difficulty. I am going to do longer sets. I'm basically going to add 10 kilos of weight. And then I'm going to do sets of 25 reps instead of 20. and I'm gonna do that every minute on the minute. So it's gonna be way more difficult than I'm used to. Last time I think I did 32 sets or something, I don't know. So today if I can get even 10 sets, I think that will be very good. But just like the push-ups, light day, today is also an opportunity to, on top of that difficulty, focus on the form, focus on locking the arms, just like the endurance guys, the elite guys can always do until the end. So yeah, there's a lot of things to learn today, but let's just get going. One set every minute, 25 reps, 10 kilos added, Japanese style push-ups, so I'll be using the decline and the bars here to have a wider grip and be able to really target my chest. What the fuck? Alright, fucking hell. What the hell? What the fuck? I was only able to do 4 sets. That's insane. I just added 5 reps to each set and 10 kilos, and my result went from over 30 sets to just 4. That's fucking insane. But it also means if I can get this difficulty for like 1,000 reps eventually, that will give me insane strength and insane chest as well, because don't get me wrong, only 4 sets, but the burn is already insane. Anyway, from an endurance perspective, I'm done after 4 sets. This is an easy workout, even though the sets themselves were way more difficult. I'm not able to push myself as far because I don't give myself time to recover in between sets. So there isn't this long period of time where you're doing the sets over and over and over again, and every time it sucks. But sometimes, like for some reason, every time, even though it sucks, you're able to go one more. You don't have that period of time where you can like start questioning yourself, like, why the fuck am I even doing this, right? That doesn't pop up if you're only doing 4 sets. Those things start to come when you're doing 20 sets or more. But anyway, that's not it for today's workout. I'm gonna do one more exercise. I'm gonna do some sets of 50 push-ups at body weight, normal push-ups as well, and then we can call it quits. I would like to get 4 sets of those, you know, but we'll see what happens. Alright, it might be a stupid idea, but I'm gonna go for 60 reps instead, you know. Last time I did sets of 50 during the workout, so doing sets of 60 will be a bit of an upgrade, I'll say. And you know, even though these sets are gonna be harder, the goal is just gonna be to do 4 sets. So it's not like I'm gonna be able to use the difficulty of a set to do less. You know, when you add weight, you kind of expect yourself to do less reps. So it becomes an excuse in relation to endurance. But if you tell yourself, like, I'm gonna add weight, but I'm gonna do the same amount of reps that I usually do, then it is gonna be harder, of course. And then it's not gonna be an excuse, you know, but 60 reps I'm gonna try and do good form. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna do 3 minutes of rest in between sets. All right, 60 reps. I don't think the form was too bad. 3 minutes of rest, 3 more sets. All right. Whew. 4 sets done. 60 reps on each. Can't complain. I'm gonna catch my breath and then we can discuss today's training. Okay, so that's it for today's workout. And it still seems like push-ups are an insane way to get a good chest pump, because I can't even reach my arms over here at the moment because my chest is just in the way. Like I've mainly been doing bodyweight stuff, but I'm definitely feeling the chest gains, and the lighting isn't even good here, but perhaps I think in like a week or two I will be bulking for 10 months, so then I can do another progress update. But whew, the chest is feeling insane, like it's indescribable. So just fucking do some push-ups and experience it for yourself is what I would say. But yeah, today's workout, although it was a bit of a lighter one, definitely not a bad one, you know, because let's say I didn't accept the fact today that I was feeling tired and I would just rush into the workout, try my weighted planche and my planche combos like I usually do. I would have failed at all of them, you know. Looking back at the strength level of today, I would have failed at everything. I would have been tired. I would have been upset with the fact that, you know, I'm not able to do the training that I wanted to do. And it would just be, you know, a downwards slope into negativity for the rest of the workout. But when you realize you're tired, that's okay. You know, it's okay to realize and accept that you are tired. It's not okay to then, you know, tell yourself that because you're tired, you're not able to do anything. You're always able to do something, you know? As long as your body is able to move, as long as your mind is working, you're able to do some training. And when it comes to consistency, the days that you don't want to do it, the days that you feel tired, the days that, you know, you feel like your training will be useless, those are the days that you have to go out there and do it anyway. It's easy to be consistent if there's only good days, but that's not the case, you know. There's gonna be bad days as well, because if there wasn't a standard for a bad day, there also wouldn't be a standard for a good day, and your training would be boring as fuck. But it's just, you know, if you always are gonna avoid the bad days, then I think the good days will be less rewarding as well. And on top of that, you'll be making less gains, which is, I think, the biggest problem of them all. But anyway, when you have those tired days, you know, just start slowly. See what you're able to do on the day. You know, if you're training for planche and you're feeling tired, well, I'm sure you're still going to be able to do one normal push-up. Well, maybe 2 normal push-ups, maybe a lean planche, maybe a tuck planche, whatever level you're at, just gradually build into it and see where you end up. And you might even end up going further than you expected, because when you go slowly and don't go to your max and build up gradually, your body is getting used to it. So at first your body might have been resisting the workout, but because you're building into it gradually, your body will be like, hey, this isn't too bad. And you might end up with more power than you expected, which is exactly what happened today, you know. The planche, 2 kilos, I still got 4 seconds, you know. It's not good, but it could have been worse, right? And then on the push-ups, that was a fucking surprise, you know. I really expected to maybe be able to get like 10 sets or something on 25 reps and 10 kilos, but I got 4 in the end. And is that a bad thing? No, it's the first time I tried this. It's my first attempt. It's not a failure, you know, it's an attempt, and there will be a next attempt, because as long as you do sustainable training and you stay consistent, you're going to be able to try whatever you want to do a lot more, you know. You're going to be able to try it over and over again. So today is not a failure in that regard, it's a benchmark. I have 4 sets with 25 reps and 10 kilos as a benchmark for next time to beat. And that's very important. But anyway, that's it for today's training. What I hope is going to happen, because this was a lighter session, is that tomorrow I'm going to be like, well, what the hell? Did I have a push day? You know? I could already go again tomorrow. You know, I hope that I'm gonna feel like I'm recovering too long so that I can build up some frustration of, fuck, I wanna train, you know? Because if you have that, you know, if you're thinking from days beforehand, like, I wanna train, I wanna do the push day, you're gonna be in good shape no matter what. And that's kind of what I'm aiming for. But that's it for today's training. Very happy with how it went. I'm gonna take a shower, have some breakfast, and see you tomorrow for a pull day.